Hey everyone, it's Tammy. So here's the deal. I've had this on my mind for days and it keeps coming up in different conversations, and it even is more of like a tag along to the previous video. And that is with regards to the additives and stabilizers and preservatives, etc., in our foods. Um, I really want to throw this out there and say that I believe that every diagnosis, every health condition that we are facing as a world essentially comes down to an allergic reaction or an immune response to the world. We can get into all the genetic specifics and how it manifests in the individual. But when I research these medications and I study how they're affecting the body and all the different foods and supplements and herbs and whatnot that are not recommended, I have a partner in crime here today. As you can tell, it's so funny because I sit outside and you never see them, but for some reason today he's with me. And he's just followed me wherever I go today. Anyway, I really want to help to recontextualize our theories about health and begin to lower the walls, if you will, about how to really help people. And that there's no one size fits all, and that I don't believe there's any one concrete way or any one thing that one person should stick with, because the body's constantly changing. And what I do know is that everything has long-term effects. Even our own hormones have an effect on our body, and they actually inhibit various liver enzymes in the way the body metabolizes other chemicals. And so you have our body producing chemistry. You have the foods that have chemistry. You have the medications that we take. We have the herbs that we take. And a lot of us are using these things unaware of either the long-term effects or the contraindicated effects. I was writing a paper just yesterday, and to give you an example, calcium channel blockers. This is just one example. That's a high blood pressure medication, and it actually prohibits people from actually taking calcium and or any type of magnesium. Now, these are two very vital nutrients, and I'm assuming by the way this was written up, they're talking about in supplement form, but I know far too many people who are actually taking these in supplement form. It didn't say anything about food-based, so that's a bonus. But if someone's purposefully taking magnesium, which I know many people do, that's not allowed when you take certain medications. Abilify is another one, because I do work a lot with a lot of mental health concerns. I've seen Abilify used with autism. I've seen it used with schizophrenia. I've also seen it used in treatment facilities for addiction and PTSD, as I've worked in there with them. And that particular medication also hinders somebody and suggests not to use magnesium, along with many, many other things. So, we hear of antidepressants and don't use St. John's wort. I actually saw a medication today for, it was for the enlarged prostate. I'm helping someone, and he takes a medication for enlarged prostate, and believe it or not, it actually says don't use turmeric. So these are really very important things to be aware of, and this is the reason why we oftentimes end up on different medications, because we've been on one medication for so long, it's depleted nutrients, we're not allowed to have certain things, and now you need another medication. Now, I'm not bad-mouthing medications. What I'm trying to do is be informative, so that we begin to make more well-rounded decisions and supportive decisions, understanding that, okay, I need the medication, so what can I do to offset this? And this is the reason why I like the oils, because they will actually come in where you can't consume certain things. And we go back to magnesium and calcium. So obviously the oils don't contain nutrients. But what they do contain is the instructions that also alter genetic expression. So keep in mind, everything that we're exposed to, whether it be our thoughts, whether it be the toxins that our body produces, whether it be our own hormones or neurotransmitters, or the toxins and other things that we're exposed to, the oils, everything affects the genetic expression. So the oils aren't any different than that. So what they do is they actually encourage modulation. That means I personally do not use them to stimulate or inhibit. That is the job of the medication. What I try to do is modulate the areas of the body that are not being directly affected by the medication. This isn't to say that there's not some bounce back. I can't remember what I wanted to say, but resistance on the other side. But some counter effects that may be going on. But so what I want to do is I want to modulate the other side of the body so that it begins to pick up the nutrients. So this is where food-based magnesium and calcium would be beneficial in combination with the oils. I will never take anybody off of the medication. They're placed on medication for good reason. Their physicians know exactly what they're doing, and I just want to make sure that they get all the nutrients that they need that will prevent them from having any adverse side effects. So like I said, this gentleman today was not allowed to be taking turmeric, and he was actually taking turmeric. That was and there was a drug interaction there. So I had to advise him to not use the turmeric. But we were able to figure out another way to support his body. The same thing happens with herbs, all of our plants. And so, sometimes these are referred to as an allergic reaction. I like to call it an immune response because that sounds like to me, that's a different way. It's just a way of reframing it. Okay. It's just putting a positive spin on it. Not that I'm some sort of Pollyanna. What I'm trying to do is help people see something in a different light, not be down and out about it, not feel like there's no hope. There is always hope. It's a matter of realizing that what your body is going through is your body's way of saying, hello, we have a problem and I need your help. When I was studying addiction, and we were talking about substance use in the families. One of the things, the theories of a family therapist is that addiction or substance use is a symptom and of a bigger problem. Now, depending on the type of practice or the approach that they use, sometimes they will go directly for the addiction. Other times they will work with the entire family system. But nonetheless, the theory is, and the belief is, more importantly, that substance abuse is a symptom of a bigger problem. And that symptom is a message, okay? That's the lingo, that's the words that these therapists are using. It is a message that there is something going on within the family system, whether it be the direct interactions around the substance abuse or something deeper. That's on the therapist to work out. But the bottom line, that my point is that a symptom is a message, and that's exactly how I see it in the body. A symptom is a message. So health conditions is an immune response. An allergic reaction is an immune response. So when you look at it from that angle, you can now see that it is a message. Is it just down to one chemical? I wish I could say yes, but it's not. I mean, we all have about 10 million different variations in our body, and they're all, playing back and forth. It's like a piano. It's constantly going because our bodies are doing miraculous things every single day to get us from point A to point B to rejuvenate and start all over again. So there's a lot happening, and it's important to change it up. And it's not necessary to be so strict and rigid with the way you do things. And it's also necessary to realize that there are certain things that over the long haul will actually have adverse long-term effects unless the entire system is being addressed. That is the crux of holistic health. It is not about using just natural remedies. It's not about, complementary or alternative therapies, it is about working with the whole system. In our world today, the whole system includes medicine, Western medicine as we know it. There's a lot of people who are angry at these pharmaceuticals, the pharmaceutical companies, and the people behind them. I can completely understand the interesting is that I can wrap my head around it. I can understand. And if I lived in that context of there's no hope and there is, we have to retaliate and fight. And again, I'm a little resistant right now because I don't want to piss anybody off. But the fact is I do understand it. I get it. And it is the world that we live in. It is the fact that we have these things and there is harm being caused by a lot of them. There's no question about that. There's statistics everywhere about the number of people that are suffering or losing their lives over some of these things. It actually takes more of a hands-on approach. It takes somebody being emotionally detached from that person and assisting them to help work with the whole system. And personally, my background started out in pharmacology. I have great respect for the pharmaceuticals because they are saving lives in many arenas. And so I can't sit here and be angry at them. And the funny thing is for me, if I were to speak openly and honestly about this, I have as many issues with the Western world, medical world, as I do with those who are practicing alternative and complementary medicine. And here's why. Because the two worlds don't want to come together. They each see something wrong with the other. And in my mind, we have to change the way we look at things. We cannot be sitting here blaming and pointing fingers at anyone. We were given these gifts. We were given the intelligence to create and understand and to work with everything that we have. And that's really where I'm coming from. It's really about understanding that, yes, there are problems. There's problems in both worlds. I mean, quite frankly, I know people who are practicing naturopathy and they're causing as much damage as anybody. So it's not being handled in a very responsible way. That's not to say that everybody's doing that. Okay, so I really want to be clear here. This is not an all or nothing kind of statement. There are good people on both sides of the fence, and what I'm saying is it's time to take the fence down and it's time to work hand in hand. And I'm actually hoping that I can begin training people to do what it is that I do so that we can create this ripple effect and actually help people attend to these immune responses in an appropriate, personalized manner so that we don't have long-term, ongoing negative effects happening in the body, and that the people learn to dance with their body. That when they go, and I mean that with all due respect, I mean dance with the ebb and the flow of what's happening. Same thing with our medical world. Our doctors and nurses are so overwhelmed, overworked. There's just so much happening over there that the idea of asking them to sit down and handle this is as daunting as asking a client to sit down and handle all of this, because it really takes a detached emotion. Meaning you just don't want to be entwined with somebody. You want to be able to take an objective perspective and help people. And that's really what I'm doing, and that's what I'm seeking, wellness warriors at this point. So if that's something that appeals to you and I can start teaching you, by all means let me know, because this is important work, and this is, to me, the next realm of what needs to happen in order for people to begin to feel good and to feel empowered. I appreciate that we have so much available to us that it's just time now to learn how to use them effectively. So on that note, please know that I think it's the other thing I wanted to say when it comes to food, that falls in this realm. It comes into play. Like I said, the oils contain the instructions. They do not contain the nutrients, but we're going to have to start being very careful with some of these nutrients and these supplements that are out there, because not all of them are welcomed alongside Western medicine. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, because we need the nutrition, but believe it or not, folks, the nutrition can come from your food. It's beginning to choose with intention and choose with awareness. And that's not to say that you can't enjoy some of these foods. It's just a matter of learning to find balance. So on that note, I look forward to meeting our wellness warriors, and I'm excited about this next endeavor, and welcome your questions, and hope that I can help somebody in your life very soon, whether it be directly with their health issues or teaching someone that you may know. So thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from you. Until then, have an absolutely beautiful day. Bye now.